Welcome back to the next episode of The Awakened Stranger. Again, this is Cody, and today we're talking with John. And John's reached out. He's had an awakening just about 4 or 5 years ago and gone through some experiences in life. And we're just going to have a good conversation, kind of see what happens. So, John, if you'd like to take a moment, just to announce yourself and introduce yourself to everybody, let them know kind of who you are, maybe some information about you, and maybe about your awakening and kind of what got you from there up to this point.
Okay, thank you. Pleased to meet you, Cody. My name is John. I awakened like 4 or 5 years ago, and I couldn't see things the same after that. It felt like my perspective has widened. There's significantly less judgment, and relationships have really changed for me. So, like, I know in one of the podcasts you asked, like, was there an event that triggered the awakening?
Yeah.
And for me, like, I took a dose of mushrooms a year before. And obviously, like, I know a lot of people like contributing one specific event to an awakening, but I do believe that it's a series, right? You can't just say that it's that one event. But there was a giant catalyst for me. Before the day of, the night previously, I was like, oh, there's so many things that don't make sense about my life. Like, the job that I work, it's super not aligned. The relationships that I have, like, the energy doesn't feel good. And I blamed myself I feel like most people do. So I was by myself and I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, what can I do? And I went to sleep. And then the morning of, I woke up, and for some reason, a memory came back to me, a memory that I've had when I was a child. And basically, I was just playing with the treadmill, and my grandfather went on after I played with it, and it damaged him because, like, I set the incline too high. Anyways, it was a very traumatic incident because I got a lot of shame from my parents. And it became like a memory that every time it came back to me, I pushed away. So it felt like, I guess I was holding on to it I'm 36 now, so I was holding on to it for at least 25 years. And that morning, I revisited that memory, and instead of pushing it away, I saw myself as that child, and I was kind of wondering why I kept blaming that child when all that child was doing was just playing. Didn't know what he was doing was wrong. So, like, it really felt like I forgave that child, and I saw that child from a different perspective. And since that day, like, a lot of weight has disappeared. And it felt different. The energy felt different. The way that I saw other people, everything was different. I felt like I was blasted wide open. And, a lot of things changed from there, but that was one of the catalysts.
Do you feel like was that like an inner child type healing that you maybe went through? Do you feel like that was yourself as a younger kid that you saw, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had a few experiences where I've done that, and, kind of intentionally having like the inner child healing meditation, if you will, kind of picturing yourself in your childhood bedroom and doing that kind of, I guess, a example or run through of just like walking in, sitting next to yourself, holding your younger self, and kind of being there to support him, because I think that's what a lot of people are going through right now, is at least some of the inner child healing and kind of dealing with some of the trauma that might have happened in the past. But how did that experience happen for you? Is there kind of more details to it, or?
Yeah. So, because, I've been watching your videos, and there's like, you thinking that you need to do something, but then you do it and it still doesn't feel right. So it's like, it's just a lot of unknown, right? And especially, because you don't really talk to people that have awakened in your daily life. So, like, I was just following the energy. Like, that's what I realized that I was kind of missing in my life. I was very moving according to the logical processing center of the mind instead of the energy of the body. So, like, once I realized that it was memories, like harsh memories that I was holding on to, that I kept pushing away, it felt like I was on a path of integrating all of the memories that I had a negative association with.
Mm.
So I was doing therapy, but I didn't really know what I was doing. Like I had like cognitive behavioral therapy, but then I looked into it a little more, and I found this thing called internal family systems, which
Okay.
is similar to, I think, what you were saying, basically the meditation of the inner child and kind of releasing the pain, the trauma. So I did a lot of that, and so yeah, it was super scary because it was just memories that you couldn't really ignore anymore. Memories that I've been holding on to that I needed to process, that I needed to just kind of go through and forgive myself, and again, just realize that it's a child that potentially was neglected, didn't have connection, so it did things that, I don't know, was either playful or just, trying to fill in that hole of connection, lack of connection. So,
And you had mentioned
yeah.
that you'd done a mushroom dose prior to. Was there anything that kind of happened during that mushroom experience, or you think?
Yeah, yeah. So during that mushroom experience, I remember it vividly. Basically, like I just, like during the trip, I saw myself as different things. Like I saw myself as like a chrysalis. I saw myself as like a lava lamp, or just even a pattern. And although like seeing myself as something different didn't really do anything, I felt like the fact that I was so not my usual set of programming, like that was the thing that was like the thing that stuck with me, is that I was not myself for at least 7 hours.
Hmm.
So it gave me a bit of space from myself, and then on it just gave me a different perspective, and it seemed like the perspective has just been evolving ever since.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it's happened for me. I had a really big mushroom dose that kind of kicked off my awakening and really, I think, started it. But it's been about 2.5 years now. Moving forward, I've had probably about four good, like what I would call kind of new awakenings, if you will, or additions to.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it definitely that's kind of been the fun part of having a lot of these conversations with people, is realizing that everybody's story starts from a different point of view, and everybody's gone through something else different in life, and yet we're all here trying to figure out what's going on right now. So it's kind of a very unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Like the most no, I agree with you exactly. The fascinating thing is that everyone is like aware, but in different areas, and it seems like that is the like the soul progression, like your own lessons that you're learning on this life, like the parts that you're unaware of, which is yourself at the end of the day. I don't know. I love it, and it confuses me.
Yeah. What have been some of the things kind of been that you've been thinking about or kind of working through lately?
Yeah. So after I went through the gauntlet of all of the scary memories that I've pushed away, um, then I started to kind of work on my like boundaries, because I grew up as a people pleaser, so I didn't have a lot of time to kind of figure out myself, even though everything felt like it didn't make sense. Like my body knew before my mind knew, and I guess it's always kind of like that in this culture. But recently, after learning the boundaries, it's just kind of improving my relationships. Like the theme has been improving my relationships with myself and with other people, because for me, it just doesn't make sense that I have bad relationships with my parents, and I understand that like a lot of people don't have that ability to kind of meet on that energetic frequency. I find like a lot of them are still stuck on like the mental plane of consciousness, where everything needs to kind of logically and logistically make sense.
Yeah.
Instead of like, do you think that you should have this relationship with your son or your daughter? Like, why is there friction? You know?
No, and that's been a lot
So,
of topics on my mind too lately. Is just like I had a big discrepancy, if you will, in how work felt. And that was one of the big things that I chose to do, was to leave my job a little over a month ago. It just stopped feeling good. It started creating caution or like problems with me. Health wise, I was getting anxiety, going through panic attacks. I was getting sick, nauseous. I got to the point where I couldn't even like brush my teeth without throwing up. And it was
Wow.
that feeling of like, I've never dealt with emotions like that. I've never dealt with anxiety. I've never had all sorts of issues going to work, and starting to
Mhm.
realize like, yeah, it's like my soul was telling me like, this doesn't feel good. And I think, you hit it right. Like when you're no longer aligned, it's like everything has to change. It's either a choice to change it, or like there's going to be a forced change is what it feels like. And so yeah, I left my job,
No.
kind of been trying to figure out life and what I want to do now moving forward. Like have a lot of plans, a lot of things kind of think about, but it's that weird like feeling like nothing's quite lining up yet, but yet everything's available. But
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
feels very, very in limbo right now.
Yeah,
So
I know what you feel. It's
yeah.
like after the awakening, you're just on the path of alignment, right?
Hmm.
And it's not like, at least through therapy, what I've observed is, and even after awakening, it's not a straight line to the center. You're in like an inward maze, and then like you get a revelation, and one of those big ones for me was like, I can't heal someone. Like it's their choice, and it's also their path. Like I can, give advice and influence, but if they're not ready or if they're not willing, they won't.
Yeah.
And like, no, please go ahead.
I was just going to say that's been probably one of the biggest things that I've kind of struggled through is you get excited about something, you learn something new, or you feel like you understand some new concept and you want to share it with everybody, and then you realize that you don't have anybody that has any similar ideas in mind, or you can't have that conversation. And so it's one of those kind of, like you've mentioned, feeling very alone, like you don't have a lot of people to talk to. So that's kind of been the idea with the podcast, is having a lot of people be able to share their experiences and just kind of let people realize that they're not alone, and that there's a lot of us out here that just very in different spots. So it's kind of,
Hmm. None, and I love it. It resonated with me really deeply. Like I've always wanted to do something like you, but there's, I don't know, like either like small resistances within me, like, oh, what if it's not valuable to other people, or what if I don't get it right? But these are still lessons that I'm learning,
mm-hmm.
because like ultimately I would love to um, do something like you.
Yeah.
It's very inspiring.
Well, and it's weird. It's that I think there's a mix between going through something different, experiencing kind of life in a different perspective, then also learning how to integrate the ego and trying to take it from a different point of view, where you're wanting to be out there and helpful, but at the same time, like the ego kicks in and wants to like take charge and make sure you're doing something right. Or I've always been this version of me that feels like I need to perform or need to
Yeah,
produce a high level income, and it's just this like very in limbo kind of feeling right now. So
yeah, yeah. It's like the latest thing, and like I think it's like a key to kind of the letting go. But essentially, it's, if I spend too much attention on what I want to do, it's going to mess up what I want to do. Like, because I feel like I'm already doing it. Like I'm already having these deep conversations, or at least trying to, with everybody that can meet me on this level.
mm-hmm.
And the moment I think about it is the moment I have like resistances. Like, I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it's essentially like trying to get into the flow state and then trying to remain in the flow state.
Yes. And I kind of reference it for people where I feel like it's almost like for me, I feel like a shift kind of between like a 3D version and a 5D version. Like there's just this
Yes.
up and down and up and down, and it's in like you it's hit it perfect. Like the other day, I felt like everything was in a total flow state. Like it was just everything went easy, everything felt light, everything was super like motivating, positive conversations, and then all of a sudden there's a day where it comes in, it's just like, man, this is dragging. Like the energy feels low, the vibration feels
Yeah.
low, it feels like everything is a struggle. And I always keep thinking, I'm
Yeah.
like, what did I do wrong? Like what did I do to change this? But I think that's what kind of what we're going through. And you see, I don't know if you pay attention to the Schumann graph, or the
Oh, I did at one point. Yeah.
yeah, And I'll look at that sometimes, like, okay, I've been feeling a certain way. Like, does this line up with how the graph looks today? And I used to look at it first thing in the morning, and now I've kind of switched because I'm like, I don't want to base my how I feel or what I think is happening on what I saw on the graph. So I've been trying to just look at that later and see if it align, it makes sense to be like, okay, this is what I noticed. I wonder if the graph looks a certain way. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely definitely a roller coaster. So
Yeah, it's like the mind
yeah.
thinks, like predicts, like tries to predict what it will be, because it thinks that once it's awakened and once it's on this existing at this level of consciousness, that it's gonna be smooth all the time. But like you said, exactly, the energy, you can't predict the energy.
Hmm. Do you tend to
So
find yourself kind of waking up already with the day of the mood of the day kind of set, or does things shift for you throughout the day?
the energy can shift. I have noticed, like ever since I was a child, that if ever it was kind of like a really gray day,
Hmm.
it would affect my energy even before I would wake up. Like I'd wake up like all like oh, it doesn't really feel good, and I'm like, why? And I check outside and it's gray, and it's like, okay, I
Yeah.
see why.
Huh.
Um, but I don't know. With energy, it's kind of peculiar, because I think one of the first things I've noticed when I was younger, when I was like a child, was like I never understood why people went to bed angry or
Mm.
with like a grudge. Like it's like, how can people even sleep like that? I wonder. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was one of like the biggest existential like ideas, and it's like, because it didn't resonate with me. Like heavy energy never resonated with me, and I just never understood. Like that was probably like one of the earliest disconnects of me in the 3D world.
Huh. It's just you don't hold on to energy or heavy energy. You kind of let it go. Is that what you're saying?
Like kind of, yeah. Like I don't like holding on to it, because I'm like, I have a belief where um, the spirit operating at the higher levels, manifested itself in the 3D to experience these lessons, these hardcore, incredible lessons of consciousness
Mm.
expanding, energy, feeling, like all of this growth. So, because my parents like to hold on to energy, I felt like I didn't want to. Like I saw it in them. Like I don't want to be like that.
Nice. Well, it's funny. I've kind of built most of my life on doing things opposite of what my dad did. He kind of got raised in a not the best environment, and that's one of the things I say is I've done everything opposite of my dad just to be the person I am now. But um, to hear that you've kind of learned how to not hold on to energy based on watching your parents, it's very similar. So kind of cool.
And I wanted to ask, like, did you ever want to have a good relationship with your dad, but you just couldn't because of the different levels of consciousness?
Yeah, and it's been so. I'll kind of give you the bullet points, I guess. My
Yeah,
my
yes,
parents
please.
divorced when I was 8 years old. I had two younger brothers, and
Mm-hmm.
my dad, he was adopted into the family, into the Rampton family, and so the
Mm-hmm.
family itself had a decent amount of money. He's never kind of been the person that really did a lot with his life. He always claimed to be the black sheep of the family and poor pity me kind of feeling, and he's always just barely gotten by in life. But
Mm-hmm.
he's just the differences in personality, who he is, how he talks, what he says, kind of his mannerisms, his behavior. They're just things that don't align with me, and they never really have.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved out on my own at 16, had my own place, became a dad at 19, and my whole life has just been about raising my family, having kids, and working. And I never really had the relationship with him, and it just kind of slowly, it never really got better, but it never at all looked good. And so I've gone a
Mm-hmm.
long time in my life just going on without him. And then he's definitely changed even more so, into the point where like I choose not to have a conversation with him. I've actually had to block him on a lot of my social media sites. My kids,
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to speak to him. I don't let them have his phone number. he's not the best person right now, and I wouldn't trust him with my daughters. Is kind of where it's gone to. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so a lot of it is just
No.
that, yeah. And the weird part too is like as I kind of understand things a little bit different now, and I look at like the idea of a soul contract, right, and knowing that
Mm-hmm.
he was a certain person in my life, that was his role. He chose, and that was what I believe is we chose this relationship to allow everything to evolve between our lives. And I can be thankful for knowing that that's the way it's happened, and that my relationship with him has led me to the path that has given me, the understanding of where I'm at now. And I've also been able to help, kind of look to fixing some of my relationships with my daughters, communicate with them in a different way, realize some of the flaws that I had growing up that were kind of just ingrained with my childhood and upbringing. And so it's
Yeah.
definitely been a good benefit that I've been able to see a really toxic and bad relationship through him. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's not really an intention to want to fix that right now because he's just not the type of person that I would like in my life. So it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a different feeling. But I look at that now as more of a karmic kind of connection, a relationship that he was in my life for a reason to help me through some of my karmic lessons. But the
Mm-hmm.
role of being a father and somebody I look up to is not the relationship with him. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Wow.
it's that
Wow.
idea of, right. We're all playing a part in the play. We're all playing our part in the movie, and everybody's role is unique to them, and everybody's got a what I believe is a soul contract with each other of how we interact with each other, and how somebody's going to help somebody through their lifetime. And yeah, so
Yeah. It's like the friends that appear and disappear, and it's like, why?
yeah. Well, and that's the kind of crazy part. I've had conversations with some of my friends in the past where I've told them, I said, I just feel like, because I don't have a lot of lifelong friends. I don't have a lot of people that have just been around forever. and
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a lot like that too. I've come into somebody's life, it seems like there's a big impact or a really good friendship going on for a while, and then all of a sudden it just is over. And I've always
Mm-hmm.
had that feeling like my role in some of these friendships are just for a season. Like it's just come in, make an impact, do something, say something, or be a part of their life for a little bit of time, and then we go our separate ways. So I sometimes feel like that was a choice that I made, was just to be the influencer, to be something in somebody's life for a season, but not for a long time. So, which that's where I think
Mm-hmm.
where a lot of people that do kind of come through this awakening path, they have that sense of loneliness and feeling like there's not anybody to talk to, because I feel like we're operating on a completely different level than just the average person that's going about their day and having a normal 9 to 5 or a normal job, and that routine is just normal. That's what I see a lot of people are kind of shying away from. It doesn't seem to be normal anymore. Just wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed. Like seems like there's a lot more to life.
Yeah. It
So
really doesn't make sense when you, I don't know, can just find so much beauty in just the everyday, and any part of nature, like a simple interaction with like another human when you're not talking about like anything 3D related.
mm-hmm.
Like it just really doesn't make sense that we're living such disconnected lives when we have the ability to um, communicate across language and across space.
Yeah. No, and that's like you said it right. When you're having a 3D conversation, it's like I find myself trying to or wanting to have conversations with people and just having a communication with a stranger. And
Mm-hmm.
the idea of, right, how do you start a conversation, the common questions that most people ask: what do you do, what do you do for
Yeah,
work, who are you? And
I
I'm just
hate
like,
that.
oh, I'm like, come on, like let's get to the good stuff real quick, because
Yeah,
it's so
like
it's
it's
so
so
weird.
boring. It doesn't tell me anything about you. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like it doesn't tell me if you're a good person. Like I want to know. Like recently, um, like how I interact with people is uh, the way that I tell it to my friend is I only really keep people in my life that I don't feel like they're energetically stabbing me.
Mm-hmm.
And that energetically stab can come in different forms. Like some is grasping, some is like I haven't dealt with my inner shadows, so I'm, projecting something onto you, and if you don't play that role, like I'll get triggered or upset, and all that really doesn't align with me anymore.
Mm-hmm. Have you found a group of
It's like,
people, or do you kind of have a support group or anybody you're talking to that helps you with these
yeah,
conversations?
luckily, yes. Like if I didn't, I feel like I don't know, it'd be so much easier to lose my mind or go back into the energetic circles of I don't know, addiction, for example.
Mm.
Like after it was really interesting because after awakening, I changed a lot of my relationships. Like, I hung around people that like enjoyed gossip, and I never really enjoyed gossip. Like, why are we gossiping when we can be having fun? Laughing, enriching our lives with love. Why do we have to talk negatively about someone? It doesn't make sense. So I kind of restructured my main social group, and like every time when I'm with them now, like even though sometimes we don't speak about things deeply, it's easy to, and we're never energetically stabbing each other in a we're not getting judgmental. We know that we're all there for each other. Like it feels aligned. It
Nice.
feels aligned.
Yeah. No, that's really good because that's probably been the thing that saves me some of these days is just knowing I have some good people to talk to and just to be able to make a phone call and have a conversation with somebody that's on the same path or similar, and that's definitely helpful. So very good.
Yeah, and like I know we're not supposed to find too much weight in external validation, but it is undeniable. Like when you meet someone that can speak with you on that same level,
Mm-hmm.
it's like everything finally makes sense. I'm not talking about prices or survival.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about like creativity, love, exploration, things that make sense.
Yeah. What's
Things
kind
that
of
we
been on
deeply
your
appreciate.
what's been your new focus now, or what are you kind of working through right now?
Um, you mean working through as in like transforming old energy or just something that I'm like trying to manifest?
Either one. Is there kind of stuff that you're from your past that you're working through, or I guess have you gotten through that and kind of done with the healing and working towards new creation?
I feel like the healing is never done, to be honest with you. Like, it feels like, and I'm sure you felt it too, but there's like so many layers. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's so ridiculous how deep it goes. And you don't even realize that it goes that deep. It's like, oh, I discovered something new about myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh. um, so recently, yeah, it feels like I've always been like I had like this life theme that I'm always trying to align to, which was like, why isn't everyone communicating properly? Like not properly, but
Mm-hmm.
why aren't people speaking what they truly want to say? And it really resonated with me your first post because you were saying like everyone was kind of fake, and I agree. Like when you're running algorithms, when you're not speaking from your heart, like it really feels fake because if you're speaking to someone that's not ready to be raw, to be open, to be vulnerable, you can't be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Like not that you can't, but it's harder because they're afraid of whatever's inside of them.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So, I'm having a conversation with my wife yesterday, and right, we've been married. July will be 20 years, and we've got three kids
Congrats.
together, and it's been a crazy ride because the last 2 years, right, a lot has changed in me, and a lot of things of what I think about, some desires, what I want, how I want my life to look,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of that's changing, and there's a lot of things that she doesn't want to change, and
Yes.
and we're definitely on a completely different like wavelength when it comes to our communication, and not to say that she doesn't have any sense of kind of what I've gone through with the awakening or any type of changes, subconsciously, but it's completely foreign to her, right? She has no clue kind of what I've been going through, and to be able to
Yeah.
talk about it and express it in a way that I think makes sense is still feels like I'm speaking a whole other language to her. And
Yes.
we were having a conversation yesterday about just what you said. Like I asked her, I said, "Could you right now just tell me with no doubt in your mind, no fluff, no like beating around the bush, could you just tell me how you feel and exactly what you want?" And it was
Mm-hmm.
a 30-minute conversation about nothing. And I'm like, okay, the answer is no. Like you don't know how to actually say what you want, but that's been one of the biggest struggles. And I know it's the difference between a male and a female's communication. Obviously, a husband and wife has been married for a long time. Like we've gone through a lot, and to know that we still are having a disconnect in how we communicate has been, it's a challenge. You know, it's like I said, I just wish somebody would be easy. I've referenced this a couple times, but we've been watching this TV series, Love on the Spectrum, and it's about right autistic adults that are dating, and I've enjoyed it just
Yep.
because when they speak to each other, you know, they are
Yeah.
truly just telling them exactly what they're thinking and how they're feeling and what they want, and there's no filters. And I'm like, that is like the iconic way of speaking to somebody. Like if that could just be normal, it would make things so much better in the world, I believe. But not a lot of people have the ability just to say what they think and understand what they're wanting. So I don't know. Maybe one day that
Agreed.
comes easy for other people. It just starts changing. But
Well, I mean, like it makes sense. Like the whole communication. Like I agree with you. I think, and this might be a controversial take, but I feel like people that don't have like the regular brain structure, it's easier for them to be more pure because they are less open to the cultural brainwashing of all of the beliefs that people, expect you to believe to communicate.
yeah,
And when you said like, your relationship with your partner, your wife, I have difficulties too, because my partner, like, you can't force someone to experience something. And this awakening is a hardcore soul. It's experiential. It's not logical. You can't read about it and
yeah,
say I feel it like this. So we have like a disconnect in language and communication as well. And I don't know if it's going to be a lifetime of trying to try to understand each other, but like because the love is there, no doubt, right? Like despite all of the mental stuff, it's like I still love you, and like I still see myself with you. So I don't know, like you said, I think it's like a soul contract, and for sure I've met her in many other different dimensions. It's just this one. It's just another relationship to hopefully get better, and maybe one day we'll be able to just be completely honest with each other without effortless communication.
Well, I've always had that belief that right, if there's a thought now or there's an understanding that something's possible, then right, if time only exists here on this planet, then it's already happened. You've already figured it out, and that's why you have the desire and the want for it. So now it's just about trying to figure out how to bring it into physical reality and right, just bring that into your current awareness. So a lot easier said than done, that's for sure, though.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We could talk about it, but it's like,
Yep.
when will you be awakened? Like all of these different levels of levels of consciousness. Like it's becoming more apparent to me. So it's like before I would try to connect to everybody, and that was before I was able to kind of put up boundaries to protect myself. Like when I was blasted wide open, I was willing to talk to everybody. But then I realized that not everyone was in the same place as I was. So it's like, okay, like that was a big lesson for me. I understand that, divine timing, you're not there yet. And it's not like I'll be impolite. I'll treat everyone with respect, but I don't try to connect to everyone anymore.
You start learning how to protect your energy a little bit and how to keep things guarded and being open to the right people and not closed off, but protected a little bit, I think is the answer. Because I'm a lot like you. I tend to say yes, and I tend to offer my help and do that way too fast. I sometimes think my mouth moves faster than my brain thinks, and so I'll do that a lot. I'll just reply yes to anybody asking for something, and then I think through it. I'm like, oh man, like I either didn't want to do that or
did I really want to do that?
It's like that's
did
not
it feel
quite
aligned?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. And I think that's where kind of setting your limits and setting some boundaries and being aware of what they are and also holding yourself accountable to your own limits is probably good because that's a lesson at least for me that I'm currently still kind of working through. It's just being okay with taking care of yourself, being okay with doing things for yourself without feeling selfish. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm currently struggling with right now is just trying to take care of me and do what's right for me without feeling like I'm letting everybody else down. So
Yeah. Yeah. How do I? It's like, how do I be the best version of me so that I can be the best version of me for you?
mm-hmm.
But people take it as, well, some people, not all, take it as like, um, just you're being selfish, right? You're only taking care of yourself. Like, but it's like no. Uh, I'm trying to be the best version of me, even though you don't see it, just because like a lot of relationships have changed because you've changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's definitely a different feeling, at least for me. You know, I've kind of gone through this whole big change and realizing what I want different in life, what I want to let go of and no longer carry forward, and then I've just had that struggle of like feel like you're letting somebody down because all of a sudden I want something different. So
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely
Mm-hmm.
been a shift there. So, but
Mm-hmm.
huh. Well, what does your normal day to day stuff look like? Do you still do normal
Yeah.
kind of regular work and
Yeah, I have like a 9 to 5, although like my department's closing, so like it's the universe is presenting me with an opportunity to actually carry out what I actually want.
nice?
Um, and one of them could be a podcast, but like what I truly want is like I do believe that there's some kind of energy exchange when you meet someone in the physical world in the 3D. So
Mm-hmm.
like I'm trying to speak to strangers in real life and engage them on the level that we are speaking at now, because this level feels it makes sense to me when we're speaking on this level.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's just trying to like let people see that communication is possible, even though you can be strangers. Like we're strangers. We're meeting on the level of outside of the 3D. As ridiculous as it sounds, like our own inner lessons that
Mm-hmm.
we are learning.
Yeah.
Those harsh lessons that we're learning every day, humbling ourselves every time, and it's just to authentically, speak with someone.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the most beautiful thing someone can do these days.
Well, for sure, and I think that's what's been lacking a lot is especially with phones being the way they are and social media and everybody's tied to their phone and I do it the same thing. You get into this doom scrolling and just looking down and even out in public I see a lot of the times where people are just not even aware of their surroundings and by no means am I anything better. I do the same stuff, but that's been kind of the switch for me is actually wanting to have conversations, wanting to talk to people. And
Mm-hmm.
I do this often. Lately, I've been going up. There's a natural hot springs. It's about a 40-minute drive from my house. And go up there and
Mm-hmm.
sit in the water. It's a mineral water. It's supposed to be pretty good and healing for your body. And it feels good. And it's hot water. And I get to sit there and watch the sunset sometimes. So I've been doing that quite often and end up finding people to talk to. And it's funny because you're sitting in a little hot tub area with people, and sometimes the conversation flows, and other times you're just like, all right, like there is absolutely nothing happening here. And so, you know, and it is because it's like then a different person sits down, and you realize that two other people can have a great conversation that just didn't happen between me and somebody else. And it's like, but yeah, so I sometimes wonder, like, what is it? It's like, why can't I talk to that person versus them talking to somebody else? But then I'll pay attention to the type of conversation and realize, okay, well, that's very surface level. It's very just like that, a 3D conversation. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing is realizing that, yeah, there's a lot of people that are going through this awakening. There's a lot of people that kind of shifted their awareness, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a belief that I have that everybody's kind of spread out throughout the planet on purpose to kind of help balance the energies and kind of help regulate the planet. So there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that are out there, but they're definitely not close to each other physically because, you know, it's what we need. We need to spread out this energy throughout the world. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm. I wanted to say, because they don't say that you become more sensitive to energy after the awakening. Like, it's so weird that, like, we can sense, like, energy becomes something a little more tangible.
Yeah.
So it's like, in every kind of conversation, you kind of feel the energy of somebody. You feel if they have desperation. You feel if they have some kind of push energy. Like after awakening, there's been a very big no expectation rule in my head. And I love what you said before too. Like, I'm not better than anybody. And I truly believe that. Like, I'm not better than anyone. I'm equal to everyone. I'm just a speck.
Yeah.
Just experiencing what I'm experiencing. There is no me above anyone, even though I'm, maybe I've done a lot more introspection. Doesn't make me better.
Yeah. Well, that goes into the right. Everybody's on their own time frame. They're on their own path. Everybody that I've talked to, at least, and I think a lot of people could probably answer the same way, is that everybody's path has started from a different point of view, and everybody has different experiences, and everybody's awakening got kicked off by something unique to them, but yet everybody is kind of collecting in the same space in the same time frame of knowing that something's shifting, there's something different. And I've even kind of used the analogy like the movie Twilight, right, with Edward and Bella, the vampire movie, that right as more vampires come into an area, then more werewolves wake up, right, and they become more aware, and I feel like that's kind of what's happening. We're seeing such a big shift in maybe some of the negative energies and the people that are kind of deceiving everybody in public, that it's forcing this brighter and larger awakening to kind of bring a balance to the energies on the planet. So it almost feels like that's kind of what's happening, is that there's a lot more people waking up, a lot more people becoming aware of their power of manifesting, of holding a light, holding a higher vibration, because there's been such toxic and negative environments for so long that feels like now is kind of that time that we're here to balance things out. So I don't know.
No, I see it. I see it like you. Like everything is a tool that can be used for good and bad. And like, the more the energy goes in one direction, it doesn't mean that it can't go into the other one. Like, I've been in like the area of paradoxes a lot lately, and it's just everything can be good, everything could be evil, and everything is in between. So, like, yes, despite the world being exposed to all of the atrocities that is going on daily, it doesn't, because you woke up recently, in a sense, right? Like, time, what is time? But like, I've had conversations with people, and it's like, are we waiting for the collective shift of everyone finally becoming a little more aware? It's like, because I think all the time, like, when will we finally all be together? Because like, I see humanity as, or what we're supposed to be, just like one gigantic family.
Yeah. No, it's funny that you say that, like, when we kind of, everybody's back together, because I keep having this, like, reoccurring dream, if you will, of, like, this big family reunion. And I have this idea of, like, being on Maui, and I love the island, and I love being on the beach. And so, right in my setting, that's where it is. There's palm trees, and there's this, like, kind of a reception type setting where people are just gathering and hanging out. And there's this feeling that there's this big reward type, recognition coming. And it's been a weird dream that I keep having, but it keeps becoming more and more frequent, where I'm like, all right, is this a sign, or is this maybe me hoping for something? But yeah, I definitely feel like something's close. Something is happening very soon, but there's no understanding or no time frame. So it's like, we're just sitting here hoping, is what it feels like. But
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. But I mean, like, we could see the evidence, like, because I wouldn't be able to have this conversation before this awakening. I would have just been like, oh, like, still too shy, still unable to be vulnerable with myself. And when I saw the video of, like, you crying, or you just, your voice breaking, it's like, wow, like, truly cracked open, like,
yeah.
you can't ignore this anymore.
Yep. Well, see, and for that, I've been finding myself too, like fighting this kind of tug and pull with my ego and my higher self. Like there's a side of me that feels like just being vulnerable and being open is what's needed. You know, let the emotions out, let the stuff you've been holding on to go. And then there's another side of me on the ego side that's like I don't want to show myself to the world as this guy that just can't get his shit together. You know, it's like
Hmm.
there's this
Yeah,
side
but
of like, yeah, I'm like, it doesn't mean that every day is bad and every day's crying, but holy cow, there's a lot of things that I'm releasing and letting go of, and a lot of things changing. So it's like that comes with the territory, but it's a weird kind of mix of trying to figure out the right what to do. Do I share the everything with the world, or should I be more kind of protected of just only certain things? It's a weird tug and pull, like I said, that don't really know what to do sometimes, but.
yeah, because when before you said like, showing the world that you don't have your shit together, like I would argue that like you're finally getting your shit together.
Yeah.
Like internally, and what is more important than the internal alignment?
Yeah.
Like you can have everything, you can be successful, but if you have a crappy relationship with people that you love and yourself, like what is existence?
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's the perfect answer. We solved that, and I think you solved a lot of people's life. So.
Yeah, a lot less judgment, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what do you
Yeah.
foresee coming for you in the future, and what's in the works for you?
Best case scenario, I get laid off. I start on my project. I finally speak with people. Like I just got like a video camera because I was looking for kind of like B-roll shots, but it's essentially just to record everyday conversations like. And it's funny because these conversations would be about nothing, but when I mean nothing, I mean like nothing that's related to the 3D. Everything that's a little more 5-dimensional, a little more introspectiveness. Just to give more content, I guess, like what you're doing, giving more content to the people that have gone on this, that's on this path, that's on this journey, and they feel a little lonely.
Mm-hmm. No, and it's funny because my mom was showing me some videos of a newscaster, a news anchor that had started his own channel, just collecting stories, right, and going out and meeting people and asking if they have a story they want to share. And it obviously felt very similar to what we're doing here of just being able to share stories and more so kind of on the path of an awakening stories or life experiences. But I'm just realizing like there's a lot of people that would love to just share their story, and and that's kind of been for me this focus on this idea is just letting people have a space to talk and a space to share, and in an area where there's a lot of common information being shared, and that we're kind of going through the same thing together. So it's definitely I don't know, it's a fun project at the moment, but there's a part of me that feels like there's a need for it to continue. There's another side of it that just like, is this just something to waste some time while I'm figuring out what the next part of my life looks like? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, well, we're not supposed to know, apparently.
Yeah. Well, and I've said that a lot where like in my past, a lot of the stuff I've done or decided on has always been things that I already knew the outcome, or I was already okay with kind of what was going to happen. And lately
Uh-huh.
it's like making a decision or allowing myself to do things without knowing the outcome and just seeing what comes of it. And it's definitely a different feeling. It's something I'm not used to. So I think that's
Yeah,
probably my own
something that
struggle. Yeah.
yeah, the ego struggles, right? Because it's like, when you go into an event with no expectations and you get blown away,
Yep.
the universe presents you with something greater than you can even imagine, right? It's just wow.
Yeah. Well,
It's just being
yeah,
open.
oh, sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. It's just being open to the universe, which is basically your inner Jesus. I refer to it like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I love it. Because yeah, it is. It's becoming aware of something that you control, but then having this weird understanding that you are creating your own reality, and everything that we do comes based on our thoughts and our actions and what we choose to kind of respond to. So it's a different feeling when you realize that you're in charge. You're the one that's creating it, and whether it's good or bad, it's your fault. So, but
Yeah, the whole responsibility taking. Yeah,
yep.
yeah. But
So,
like, it's weird. It's like all the responsibility, but there isn't really a blame anymore.
mm-hmm.
There isn't really blame or shame. It's just responsibility. It's beautiful in that kind of way.
Yeah. Well,
But I want to ask you too, like, where, like, I know this is still kind of new for you, but like, have you kind of gotten more downloads from yourself in an area that you want to explore more?
mine kind of, and maybe it's because I don't have the certain things that I'm seeking out. I'm just kind of letting everything happen and flowing with it. So mine feels very sporadic. Like some days, and I listen to very different music now than what I used to. And a lot of it, I think, feels like it's got to be a certain frequency, a certain kind of vibration in my ears to make it sound good.
100%.
But that's what happens is I'll put in some AirPods and I'll listen to some music, and all of a sudden I kind of feel myself shifting more internally, and I'll just kind of let the thoughts flow, and then realize if there's a common theme showing up, or something that keeps coming back to my mind, then it's like, okay, now that's what I need to focus on right now. So every once in a while I'll get just these random, like, right, I need to deal with some stuff, or handle some more conversations with my kids, or fix some of the problems that I caused as being like an angry dad a little while ago. I used to be upset quite a bit, and now it's like there's just a whole different perspective of how I see things and how I respond to things. Not to say that I don't lash out or get angry at something, but I definitely have a very different mindset of when it comes to what used to set me off. So that's kind of been more the common theme at the moment. And then I have this idea of like what does the future look like? And I think I kind of get stuck in this idea, and I think that's where the anxiety comes from. I start trying to make sure that the future is taken care of, or I've already got things planned, or everything's lining up the way it wants to. And when I start realizing that I'm trying to hold control of it, that's when I start feeling that resistance. I start feeling the negative emotions. And so sometimes I just got to keep reminding myself, like, it's okay just to allow, just got to slow down, let it happen. And it's not me having to create it. It's not me having to, to always be in charge. It's sometimes you just have to be there and be allowed, or allow things to happen. So it's definitely a learning process, trying to just learn how to flow without trying to control things. So
Yep. No, that's exactly it. Like the perspective, the beliefs around control have totally shifted.
mm-hmm.
Totally. And it's like, how do I have less resistances with myself and the things that I truly want?
Yeah. So no, very cool. It's and I think kind of as we kind of continue to learn about each other, and we maybe have another couple more conversations, I think our the depth of what we talk about is going to definitely enhance too, because like you said, they get a little bit of time getting comfortable with somebody, and then all of a sudden you feel okay sharing more. But I would definitely love to hear more about kind of what you've gone through and some of the stuff you learned. So I don't know if that's anything you want to get into now, or if we can set up a different call too.
I'd love to go into it now.
Yeah.
And I think it should be okay, but I also want to be respectful of your time as well.
Yeah.
If you had anything planned after, like we can totally do a different day. I'm very willing because like, like we said it before, like it's just very strange depths within yourself that you had no aware of before that suddenly is just into your awareness, and it just blows you away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things change.
Yep.
It's undeniable.
Yeah. Well, what comes to mind for you now? What's the topic you'd love to share?
Let me see. I had a few questions for you because I saw your most recent post, and you've basically improved the bridge that was slippery.
Yeah. That one. And again, it's a weird, like, there was a moment. So I've been wanting to actually do that, kind of fix the bridge, not fix it, but just add to it for like a couple weeks. But I had this, right? It's a public walkway. It's around a little pond by our house, and it's about a 2.5 mile walk is what I do. And I take that walk almost every day with my dogs. And on that path, just past the bridge, there's a tree that I've kind of just, like, it was a tree that called out to me. Just one day I just stopped and touched it. The side of the tree is covered with moss. And it's a really cool tree. So that's that bridge I pass as I'm going to stop by my tree and say hi. And I've had a few
That's so nice.
times, right? If I'm wearing tennis shoes or like a running shoe, it's different. Sometimes I'll just throw on some flip flops and sandals, and but every once in a while there's a little layer of dust, and it's just a Trex type deck material that they've built it out of, so it gets a little slippery. And a
Yeah.
few times I've kind of lost my footing, or my foot slid, and I haven't fallen, but I definitely have lost my footing, and holding on to dogs. Like the last thing I want to do is you know fall and hurt myself. And the other day I had come back over the bridge. There's a little built-in picnic table in an area. People kind of hang out and play in the water there. It's not very big, but there's a little picnic table that's about 40, 50 feet away from the bridge. And I had stopped there the other day and was just checking some messages on my phone, giving the dogs a minute to breathe, and also sitting there just kind of staring at the sun. And another lady had passed me and just said hi as she was on her walk, and realized after a minute I looked over and she had slid and actually had fallen down on the bridge. And
Oh.
she was more embarrassed, I think, than anything, and rightfully so. I always double check. So I asked her if she was okay, if she needed anything, and she wanted to get moving on before anybody else paid attention that she fell. So it wasn't. I don't feel like she got hurt, but realizing that I had slipped several times, I watched somebody else slip, and I knew, I'm like, let's just put something down that makes it safe. So I'm also in the middle of doing a big remodel, and we're finishing up kind of the last space of our bedroom or basement. And so I had a need to run to the store to pick up a few things. I'm like, I saw the other day they had a roll. It was like 50 feet long of just grip tape. Like it's just almost like I don't know. I don't even know what somebody would use it for, but I just saw it. So just figured, I'm like, it just gives somebody like a good little step spot to create some resistance. And so go stick it down there on the bridge and make it to where it's a little bit safer. But then I realized, first of all, I didn't buy enough, and my mindset, my OCD wants everything to be perfect and measured out the exact same length and cut straight and square. And so I had taken things with me to go put it down, but realized that it wasn't as nice as I wanted to do it. And so there's a part of me that wants to go fix it and make it perfect, but that's kind of how I like to do things. But there's this another side, and it's like it works for what it needed to, and it's outside, it's out in nature, and it's going to get rained on, it's going to get wet, people are going to step on it, like it's probably going to get worn down, and we'll replace it some other time. So it was just one of those where I saw a need for something and had the ability to do it. So just kind of wanted to make it better for myself and for other people. And I don't know, it was just a thought that come to mind. Just go make something better. So
it was really nice, and I thought, like, it made me laugh when you said you wanted to like make sure it was like the OCD part. Like
yeah.
that part made me laugh a little. It's like, that's hilarious.
Well, and then recording it too, I'm like, I'm learning a lot about myself, because I'm like, I don't want people to watch me talk to my phone. I'm like, I feel weird. But then I'm like, but that's what I do. And so many people do it. And so many people get on their phone and FaceTime, and they just have regular conversations with people, and it's normal. But I'm like, why am I so self-conscious? So, yeah. So there
that's
was
actually the second thing I wanted to mention, the fact that it is uncomfortable, like recording yourself in public. It feels a little self-conscious, right? Like something. Like, also, you don't want to interrupt people. You don't want to. Maybe this is like the people-pleasing aspect, but like, you don't want to make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think between that and also feeling judged, right? Somebody's going to look at this person and be like, oh man, what an idiot. Who's this person making a video? And so there's this weird, like, and I say it a lot, the idea of like other people's opinions of you are none of your business, right?
No.
Never let other people's opinions bother you, but yet here I am not taking my own advice. So yeah. It's, and
I love that.
That's what I've kind of learned too, is right, just the way we speak to ourselves, what we say. I've been trying to be more aware of how I talk to myself and what I say, because even in the video, right, I made the comment like, I'm just not comfortable yet. Like maybe one day that's something I'll overcome. Like I know that everything's possible. I know that if anybody can do something, then so can I. Is kind of my mindset. And so I've been trying to just do that, be more aware of how I talk, what I say, kind of the thoughts that I allow into my brain or into my mind. And And into that, I even notice times that I feel like things are happening, or thoughts are becoming more aware in my brain that I'm like, that's not mine. That's not my thought. I feel like sometimes
Yeah.
you got, I don't want to say negative thoughts or dark energy, but I feel like there's enough out there in kind of a quantum realm or higher dimensions that are pushing thoughts into us that sometimes
Yes.
that aren't ours. We got to be aware of that.
100%. Like I truly believe that cloud consciousness is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially when you're on the same wavelength and, like the same idea pops in or you say something at the same time, like it just doesn't make sense that it wouldn't be possible,
Yeah.
especially in the quantum, realm of everything.
Yep. Well, and like you said, right? I kind of you said the cloud kind of consciousness. I think of like the collective consciousness, right? Just a group information. But I also
Mm-hmm.
sometimes feel like that's kind of where telepathy is maybe coming online for people, and not the
Mm-hmm.
aspect of just being able to read people's minds or hear what they're thinking, but more so from a common information, right? A location where all of our knowledge is stored that we just get to tap into. And so as
Mm-hmm.
you're sharing a thought, all of your information kind of hits this location, right? This collective consciousness frequency, and then somebody
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of tapped into that accesses that information. You understand the emotion, the story, all of the everything about it without having to hear the
Mm-hmm.
whole message being spoken out loud. And I don't know, that
Yes.
seems to be happening to me, where I'll hear somebody start talking, but then it's like and they may like that fumble on your words or not know how to make a point. But I'm like, no, I get it. Like I actually understand what you're saying because for some reason I feel the whole story from a different realm, a different higher perspective. It's kind of a cool thing that's happening, and I don't know. Sometimes I chalk it up to like, am I just going crazy or is this actually happening? But
No, I think you're correct. I think you're correct because it's like after spirituality too, um, I'm realizing that I can bond with people without talking. Like
mm-hmm.
you don't need to say all the words, and I know the vocabulary changed when spirituality, um, happened. But like I'm realizing that I'm connecting with people that before I would actually have some kind of like resistance with. Like it just didn't make sense to connect with them on the 3D level. But I realize when I'm calm and like we're together and we're not talking about the 3D, like it's very good. Like we bring out our inner creature, and then like the inner child is able to just come out and play instead of just ruminate about survival or all the pressures of society.
Yeah. No, and when you
Yeah,
said
there's
you
this
can,
whole
yeah, meet somebody without talking much, that I sometimes feel like just a glance and making eye contact, all of a sudden it's like you read each person's like complete bio of who they are. Like it's just
yeah
a look tells you everything about somebody lately. So
yeah. No, there's something magical about like staring at people in the eyes and just I don't know having like a kind smile.
yeah, no, that's pretty cool, and it's cool to hear you're experiencing that too, because I've not been able to express to people how that happens. Like sometimes I just make eye contact with them, and I'm like, yep, I know you're a good person. So
Yeah, I could trust you.
yep, and so
and then like maybe you have a conversation to kind of solidify that, but there's like an energetic resonance
mm-hmm.
first
Yeah.
before the mental logistical confirmation.
Yes. See, and I've kind of referenced also that I feel like I'm a human lie detector, right? When somebody tells me
Mm-hmm.
something that I don't believe or that feels like they're lying, there's this
Mm-hmm.
there's this almost like a frequency of truth or a frequency of the lie that I kind of tap into, if you will. So you tell me a story and I'm like, and I don't have to question you. I don't have to ask for details because it just resonates with the frequency of truth. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that again is whether it's real or not, it definitely feels like it's happening. So you get just this crazy conversation. All of a sudden, somebody tells you something, and they're like, "I know that sounds really weird, but I can prove it." And I'm like, "You don't have to. I believe you." Like it just,
Yeah.
I know. So yeah,
Yeah. No, just to build on that, like I noticed that a lot of conversation is based around justifying yourself,
mm-hmm.
and it's weird because after spiritual, like for me at least, like people don't need to justify themselves to me anymore, and it's weird because like a lot of conversations with my dad, for example, he would he would explain why he would do it, and I'd be like, no, you don't need to, like you don't need to justify. Then he's like, I'm not justifying, like I'm not. But it's like if you look at it from like an egoic, energetic perspective, it's like you see the energy's trying to protect itself, trying to justify why it did that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the reasons, sometimes there is no justification. Like, it happens. Who can explain awakening? Who can explain the path that we're on? Like the journeys, the soul contracts. Who can explain that?
Yeah. No, and that's you almost can't, right? Unless somebody understands it, they know it. I think you could tell somebody what the definition of a soul contract is, or you could explain to them the concept, but to then just tell somebody like, yeah, no, I just wrapped up my contract with somebody, or I just accomplished what we came here to do, and how that makes sense. I'm like, I don't think a lot of people, there's obviously a lot of us out here, but there's not the common conversation on a day-to-day basis that makes sense to people. So
yeah, 100%.
But very cool. Well,
yeah.
what do you got? You got anything else you want to chat with, or?
I think for now it's good. Like I know 100% that I can think of a billion things to think about because you're on this incredible journey that's not taught to us as children, and there's so many uncertainties, there's so many like mysteries, but I think we had a really good conversation today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I truly appreciate your time too, and I think you hit it perfect. Like sometimes you just need to talk. Sometimes you just need to tell people what's going on in your head, and then have somebody understand it. So, and I think it's true. Like nobody really understands. I think we have an understanding of what's changing, but we don't really know what's happening or why or when. So,
yeah,
I think it's just good to have these types of conversations where we just get to brainstorm, if you will, and talk about what's going on and see if it's similar to you, and see how our stories line up, and I don't know, deductive reasoning, right? Just go try to make a plan based on something that we think we know.
Yeah, and I feel like these conversations are extremely grounding. Like I don't feel insane when I talk to you.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, I've had kind of a rougher morning. Like I woke up, I went golfing with some friends, and then come back, and it just, everything felt heavy. Nothing felt right. It felt like the world was falling apart for me. Just this weird, and to just tell somebody that doesn't feel good, like, well, what doesn't feel good? Like, I don't know, the world doesn't feel good right now. Like, but then to sit down and have a conversation, kind of get back into, the right mindset, and just be able to kind of work through these types of different topics. It, like you said, I definitely feel better. Like I want to go do something now outside. So sometimes it is. It's just being aware of what you're thinking and what's affecting you, and realizing that sometimes it's just a little shift in what we're thinking about that can change the whole day. So.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I
Entirely unpredictable.
You. Yeah. So.
No, I greatly appreciate like what you're doing, and like and obviously I don't really even know that if you have control over it, but it's definitely something you can't ignore, and a path that you're on. So I'm extremely grateful that you're doing this, and it resonates deeply with me.
Awesome. Like I said, I'm right in the middle of it with everybody else. I don't know sometimes why people listen to my stories or why they want to hear the video, but it definitely happened, and there's a reason for it, and there's something way bigger than me at work, and so that's been my thing, is just keep going, because it seems like there's enough people that are being affected by something happening, that there's a platform that needs to be had, and so I think it's just been fun getting to know people and kind of helping everybody understand more so of what's happening or what we're going through. So
yeah, and like from your videos, you say you're talking to a lot more people, and I don't know, I think of it as just expansion. Like a lot of the energies that I feel right now, it's like how I can tell that I'm aligned to it or not is if I feel relaxed and expanded versus like contracted and scared.
I like that. That's probably something I need to start paying attention to, because as you said that, I'm thinking that's the exact way I was feeling today, is feeling like everything was looming over me and my world was falling apart, and then, right? And so I'm like, okay, like I'm feeling this way. Why? So I like that. That's a good perspective.
Yeah, again, great appreciation.
Yeah. Well, let's do this. I always like my final question I like to ask people, but kind of as we wrap this up, and and knowing that other people might be listening to this and eventually come across this episode, if anybody that's in a similar shoes where they're kind of going through their awakening or they're kind of experiencing stuff like what we've talked about, what advice would you leave anybody to kind of make it through the unknown or figuring out what's going on in their life?
First thing would be always ground yourself with breath. If the energy is crazy, just follow your breathing. I think that's the least you can do, but I don't know, maybe something a little more constructive would be to just be aware of how you feel when you are going about your 3D world, like energy, and I don't even know if people can feel energy, but I would, and I hate assuming, but it really feels like when you hit the spiritual road, like you can really feel energy. So just tap more into that, because I feel like that's closer to intuition than the mental space of societal construction.
Mm-hmm. No, perfect. Yeah, and it's funny because as I start thinking back too, right, my kind of initial kickoff to my initial awakening was about 2.5 years ago, and I remember starting to tell people at that point, like, things just felt different, things feel off. Well, what do you mean it feels weird? I don't know, it just feels off. Like, so you start feeling it, and I make notes here as we do our phone calls, and I'm kind of typing some stuff out, and that's what I say, like, trust your intuition, right? Understand how things work, but sometimes you just have to trust and not know, and that's a hard part, I think, for me and probably a lot of people, is just to be able to trust that it's working out the way it's supposed to. So,
yeah.
Very cool.
I resonate with that.
Well, thank you so much for our conversation and the time spent together, and I definitely look forward to continuing it if that's something you're open to.
Me too. Yeah, really looking forward to how, we travel on our path. And again, appreciate your time. It has been very grounding for me.
Yeah, well, same for me. You've shifted my perception of the day, so I appreciate you. So
grateful.
Okay. Well, we'll talk soon, and hope you have an amazing day.
Thank you, Cody.
Okay.
You as well.
We'll see you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this episode with us and just kind of overhearing the conversation between John and I. It was definitely a enlightening conversation, kind of a little bit different than some of the format we've had, but it definitely helped to just be able to talk and to kind of go through some of the stuff that we each are dealing with each day. So, and again, just to kind of give everybody a reminder, we do have the collective support group. It is on Facebook under The Awakened Stranger. And go ahead and kind of ask to join. We've got moderators who are helping us keep the types of people and the content what we need, and focused on being a part of a spiritual group and having a safe space to share your information, ask questions, and to kind of have a discussion. So you can find us there on Facebook under The Awakened Stranger. And then as well, if you'd like to record your episode, share your story, and let us kind of hear about some of the experiences you've gone through on your awakening or any of life advice that you have, reach out there. I do have links to my Google Calendar. It's on the TikTok page. And again, there, my username is @CodyRampton. And there's been a couple fake accounts and people trying to steal videos and present themselves as me and then asking for money and donations. So please don't fall trap to that. Just know I've only have one account on TikTok, and it's just my name. No additional letters or spaces or numbers. And then I've duplicated everything onto Instagram. So there it's known at The Awakened Stranger. Same videos, just kind of having that on a different platform. But on on Instagram, there's also a link to the Spotify episodes as well as the Google Calendar. So if you find yourself interesting or think you're interesting, you have a story that you'd like to share, you obviously are interesting. Sorry, my brain just decides to go somewhere. If you'd love to share your story that is interesting, then give us a call. Let me know. I would love to share some space with you, and hope you're having a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.